Got a little bit of a rant today. I don't do these very often. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've done maybe 3. I just kind of started doing them. And boy, I tell you, I'm kind of aggravated. I mean, I got 2 things to discuss that happened at the same time today. It's just, So, I've been talking to you about the differences between preppers and off-gridders. Preppers want to stockpile. And off-grid, self-sustaining lifestyle, we don't have to do anything. We're already living the life as though SHTF has already happened. Oh, no electric, no problem, I got solar panels. Oh, no water, no problem, I got a well. Oh, no food, no problem, I got chickens. I've explained all this a million times. Of course, there are people who just refuse to believe it, and I know why, which kind of goes in what I want to talk about today. This is the government, and the government's going to end up, well, we all know what it's going to do. So the off-grid lifestyle, obviously, in my mind, is just a better solution to prepping if you want to be a prepper, or at least use that title. You'll get all kinds of excuses. Oh, I can't live off-grid, I don't have enough money. But then they go and buy $1,000 worth of canned foods, spider webs. You'll see me do this a lot. And yes, I can use a stick, but it's hard to do when I'm holding a camera. Today, 2 things happened that just kind of threw me over the top. It started yesterday. The first one was someone was explaining to me that the only way to deal with life is to file for bankruptcy. Well, I replied back, well, I said, boy, that sounds like theft to me. Aren't you stealing money? And of course he replied back, no, it's not stealing money. These banks are liars and they do this and that. So you have a right to take a bankruptcy. It's legal. Maybe legal. But the only people it's punishing is your children and grandchildren. We see it all the time in government, but we don't see it when we do it. I paid off all my debt, every bit of it. And I'm debt free. And all this is going to tie together in a minute. I recognize bankruptcy is sometimes a choice a person has to make. I get it, and I'm not trying to criticize everybody. But to get on YouTube and brag about it, and then tell everybody that if you're in trouble, you should file for bankruptcy, you're bragging, and you're going to take money away from your kids. So let me explain. I'm going to try to make a comparison here so it's easy to understand. So we're, what, $30 trillion in debt as a nation. Oh, these politicians, all they know how to do is spend money. Our children are going to have to pay for this. And it's true. We will pay for this debt for the end of time. There is no way of getting out of it. The only way to get out of it is the people who loan us the money start taking things from us. And they will. They'll start taking businesses and farms, whatever they can, to recoup their money. So whatever country has loaned us the money is going to get their money back. They can't just not get their money back. So we scream and complain and say how bad politicians are. Well, then we take out a bunch of credit card debt. Something happens in our lives and we can't afford to pay it back, so we file bankruptcy. And the thing I always hear, well, the banks are rich, they can afford it. They shouldn't have given a loan if they didn't think I was going to default on it. Well, no, the banks aren't going to lose money either. Just like the countries that loan this country money, the banks aren't going to lose money. They're not going to do it. So how do they recoup their money if you file for bankruptcy? They're going to raise interest rates, even higher for people who want to get a loan in the future. So your children will end up having to pay 50, 60% interest rates. The people who invest their money in stocks and bonds and, you know, whatever, will get less return on their investments. It's inevitable. It's the only way it's going to work. So higher interest rates, but they're going to pay you less when you invest your money. So now your children are paying higher interest rates and getting less in return on their investments. Then you got inflation. You can't just steal product. Nothing is free, nothing. So you steal product, somebody's going to have to pay for it. Well, how are they going to pay for it? Well, think of it in the aspects of a store. A store gets robbed all the time. There's, you know, theft, they take things. Well, over time, they got to raise the prices because to pay for the things that have been stolen. Well, I still hear this mentality, well, the store should just eat the cost. They're rich. Well, if you really do the math about who's rich and who's not, remember the investors I was telling you about? So your children are going to invest money into the stock markets and bonds and whatever. Well, they invest, let's say, in a Walmart. Walmart gives them a return. Well, their returns are going to be less because things are being stolen. So these people, these unknown people that we talk about, can afford it. They should just eat the cost. Walmart should eat the cost. Well, the Walmart is the people investing in the Walmart. No, it's the CEOs. Well, it might be them too, but it's also, well, a lot of CEOs actually make their money from the stock market in the company that they are running. It's really about the stock market and investments and the 401ks and all those things. Your children are paying for that. But then they raise prices on the goods itself. So over time, the more people steal product, the more they're going to raise your prices. That's going to affect your children and grandchildren. Same thing with bankruptcy. So once you put a name to this, once you put a face to this, then you realize it's not some rich entity out there. It's your grandchildren. It's your children. So I explained this to this guy, that you shouldn't be bragging that everybody should go file bankruptcy right away if they want to get out of debt, because I'm big and debt free. I paid my money off. I borrowed it. I paid it back. If you don't pay it back, you are thieving. It's legal theft is what it is. So then I was watching this prepper, and he was talking about how you need to stockpile because the end is coming. Right now, it's coming. And what you need to do is just max out your credit cards. Go buy your food, go buy your ammo. Even if you can't afford it, go buy it. Put it on your credit cards. Right now, because the end of the world's coming, and the only people that are going to survive are the preppers. Well, I'm going to disagree with that just for a second. No, I think the only people that are going to survive is the self-sustaining, debt-free. So these preppers are big in talking about governments coming down heavy-handed on people, and you kind of got to keep yourself away from government agencies, and you don't want to make yourself exposed to these people, which I kind of agree with. You don't. You want to kind of hide. I don't mingle with anybody. We don't know anybody in town except one gal at the gas station. I don't even know her name, but she seems pretty friendly. But other than that, we don't know anybody. We stay to ourselves, we pay our taxes, and we keep our heads low. That way, if something does happen, they're not going to say, hey, look at this guy. Of course, now my biggest problem is I'm on YouTube. My biggest problem is I got a bunch of viewers who hate me. And so they turn me in all the time. Somebody asked me the other day, why don't you ever show your toilet? Well, I can't show you my toilet because somebody turned me into the code enforcer for the county. And the code enforcer said, hey, don't show your sewer system anymore. That way your viewers won't keep calling us. And it has worked. Now this YouTuber, Prepper, wants you to go into debt. And he said, so you'll pay the minimum payment on your credit card, all the while you got all these assets. You got all that food. That food's going to last you a long time. That's a valuable commodity. He said you can even trade this food if you need to when SHTF comes in. So now you have money. It's monetary, which again, I can't disagree with. So he just told 30, 40, 50,000 people, however many subscribers he's got, to go and go into debt. Well, when things go bad, depression hits. Do you think that everything is going to shut down all at once? This is what I'm gathering from this guy, that the entire planet is just going to shut down. No more police, no more banks, no more creditors, no more phones, nothing. It's just going to go instantly dark. It's like a light switch. We had a social economy, we had electric, we had all this, and all of a sudden we don't have anything. No, it's not going to happen like that, especially if it's a financial collapse, which most of these preppers are predicting, which I kind of agree with. I think financially everything's going to collapse first, and then as a result everything will fail behind it. You decide when the Great Depression hits, for example, I'm not going to pay my credit card bill anymore because this YouTuber told me not to pay my credit card bill. So now the creditors come after you. You start to file bankruptcy. Wait a minute, we've just had a financial collapse. Governments still need their money. They got to pay the cops, they got to pay law enforcement. So they instantly say, no, we're going to change the law. You can't file bankruptcy anymore. You can't just default on the loan. You're going to have to pay up. Well, I can't pay up, I don't have any money. You got plenty of food there, don't you? So they come in, they take your food, they take your house, they take all your possessions, because you pointed yourself to the government through the banking system. Rich people are not going to just lay down through an SHTF, no matter what it is. They're not going to lay down. They're trying to cause a depression because they want people who are poor to die. They want them off the planet. We all are complaining right now that loan forgiveness. Think about this, loan forgiveness. They're going to give somebody a forgiven loan of a couple $100,000. I don't know how much it is. Let's say it's a couple $100,000. I think it's actually $250,000. Loan forgiveness. Well, who's going to pay for that? You and me, through tax dollars, right? Oh, that makes us furious. We can't stand it. I'm just madder than a hornet right now. No, give me some money. That's what everybody's saying. If you can see that taking money for something like college education and you're not getting anything, but you got to pay for it, boy, that just makes you angry. But when you default on a loan, it's completely different. It's quite hypocritical if you really think about it. It's okay for me, but not for thee. Well, we're living in a society where the governments are trying to control us. It's admitted by the preppers. They say it all the time. I mean, I watch the elites because they can't really use the organization that the elites are in. Otherwise, they always take my videos and suppress them. So what we're going to do is just point a finger right to ourselves saying, hey, look at me. I have a bunch of debt that the elitist gave me, and I'm not going to pay it back. I'm going to show these elitists they're not going to take it. They're not going to just sit, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I should have never asked you to repay your loans. So they're just going to come and take your property. Like I've been saying all along, which I've been ridiculed for, sell your house. Take whatever money you can find left over. If you are going to file for bankruptcy, take whatever money you can have left over on your house. Buy a piece of property like this for $4,200. Get yourself a little shed from Home Depot. Put it on the property. So you're up to $9,000, $10,000. Get some solar panels and pay off your debt. You can't default because they're going to come after you. Even the people who are saying to go into debt or saying that they're going to come after you. So what sense does it make? They don't make any sense because they see credit cards as a completely different entity. We've seen it throughout history. Anytime economy collapses or, well, I mean, we see it in South America, we see it in Sri Lanka. The elitists are still doing very well. Well, how are they doing well? Because the poor people are suffering as a result. So if you want to be a prepper, then you need to become self-sufficient. Remember, off-grid. Part of that off-grid philosophy means getting off credit cards because you're relying on somebody else. That's not self-sufficient. So if you can click that super thanks button down there, I really appreciate it. So if I can inspire you, don't be fooled by the fools so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.